Hello everyone, hope you have an amazing day. And today we discuss about the Trade Unions Act 1926. The Trade Unions Act, the 16th of 1926. An act to provide for the registrations for trade unions and in certain respects of decline the law relating to registered trade unions, whereas it is expanding to provide for the registrations of trade unions and in certain respect to define the law relating to registered trade unions. It is hereby enacted as I am discussing right now. Preliminary. So, this act may be called the Trade Unions Act 1926, as I mentioned earlier. It extends to the whole of India. It shall come into force on such date as the central government may, by notification in the official gazette, appoint. Its definition in this act, the appropriate government means in relation to trade unions whose objects are not confined to one state, the central government, and in relation to other trade unions, state government, and unless there is anything repugnant in the subject or content. So, executive means the body by wherever named called, to which the management of the affairs of a trade unions is entrusted. Officer bearer in the case of a trade union includes any member of the executive thereof, but does not include an auditor. Prescribed means prescribed by regulations made under this act. Registered officer means that the office of a trade union which is registered under this act as the head officer thereof. Restored trade unions means a trade union registered under this act. Registered means a register of a trade unions appointed by the appropriate government under section 3 and includes an additional or deputy register or trade unions, and in relation to any trade union the register appointed for the state in which the head or registered office, as the case may be, of the trade union is situated. Trade dispute means any dispute between employer and workmen, or between the workmen and the workmen, or between the employers and the employers, which is connected with the employment or non employment, or the terms of employment, or the conditions of labor of any person and workman means all persons employed in trade unions or industry, whether or not in the employment of the employer with whom the trade dispute arises. And trade union means any combination where temporary or permanent formed preliminary for or primarily for the purpose of regulating the relations between workmen and employers, or between workmen or between employers and employees, as I mentioned, or for imposing restrictive conditions on the conduct of any trade or business, and includes all federations of two or more trade unions. Now provides that this act shall not affect any agreement between patents as to their own business, any agreement between an employer and who's employed by him as to such employment, or any agreement in considerations of the sales of the goodwill of a job between business or instruction in any professions trade of handicraft. Now, registrations of trade unions, appointment of registers. Number one, the appropriate government shall appoint the person to be the registrars to the trade unions for each state. The appropriate government may appoint as many additional and deputy registers of trade unions as it thinks fit for the purpose of exercising and discharging under the superintendent and directions of the register. Such powers and functions of the registers under this act as it may by order specify and define the local limit within which any such additional deputy register shall exercise and uh, discharge the powers and functions so specified. Now, subject to the provisions of any order under subsection 2, where an additional or deputy registered exercises and discharges the powers of functions of a registered in any area within which the registered office of a trade union is situated. The additional or deputy registrar shall be deemed to be the register in relations to the trade union for the purposes of this act. Now, mode of registrations. If any seven or more members of a trade unions may by subscribing their names to the rules of trade union and by otherwise complying with the provisions of this act with respect to registrations apply for registrations of the trade unions under this act where an application has been made under subsection 1 for the registrations of a trade union, such applications shall not be deemed to have become invalid merely by the reasons of this act that at a time after the date of the applications but before the registrations of the trade union some of the applicants but not exceeding half of the total member of persons number of persons who made these applications have ceased to be members of the trade unions or have given notice in writing to the registered disassociating themselves from the applications. Now, applications of registration. Every applications for registrations of a trade union shall be made to the registers and shall be accompanied by a copy of the rules of the trade union and the statement of the following particulars, namely the names, occupations, and addresses of members making the applications, the name of the trade union and the address of its head office, and titles, name, ages, addresses, and occupations of the office bearers of the trade union. Where a trade union has been in existence for more than 1 year before the making of an application for its registration, there shall be delivered to the registered together with applications a general statement of the assets and liabilities of the trade union prepared in such form of uh, containing such particulars as may be prescribed. Provisions to be contained in the rules of a trade union. A trade union shall not be entitled to registration under this act unless this executive thereof is constituted in accordance with the provisions of this act and the rules thereof provide for the following matters, namely the name of the trade union, the whole of the objectives for such which the trade union has been established, the whole of the purpose for which the general funds of a trade union shall be applicable. All of such purposes shall be purposes to which such funds are lawfully applicable under this Act. trade unions and adequate facilities for the inspection thereof by the office bearers and members of the trade unions. The admissions of ordinary members who shall be persons actually engaged or employed in an industry with which the trade union is connected, and also the admission of the number of honorary of temporary members as office bearers required under section 22 to form the executive of the trade union. Now, the payment of a subscriptions by members of the trade union, which shall be not less than 25 naya paise per month per member. The conditions under which any member shall be entitled to any benefit assured by the rules, and under which any fine or forfeitures may be imposed on the members. The manner in which the rules shall be amended, varied, or resigned, the manner in which the members of the executive and the officers bearers of the trade union shall be appointed and removed, the safe custody of the funds and trade unions annual audit in such manner as may be prescribed of the accounts thereof, and adequate facilities for the inspection of the accounts book by the officer bearers and members for the trade unions, and the manner in which the trade unions may be dissolved, power to call for future particulars and to require alterations of name. So the registered may call for future information for the purpose of satisfying himself that any application complies with the provisions of section 5, or that the trade union is entitled to registers under section 6 and may refuse to register the trade unions until such information is supplied. Now, if the name under which a trade union is proposed to the registered is identical with that by which any other existing trade union has been registered, or in the opinion of the registered so nearly resembles such name as to be likely to deceive the public or the members of either trade union, the registrars shall require their permissions applying for registrations to alter the name of the trade unions stated in the applications, and shall refuse to register the union until such alterations has been made. Now, registrations, the registered on being satisfied that the trade union has complied with all the registered or requirement of this act in regard to registration shall register the trade union by entering in a register, to be maintained in such form may be prescribed the particular retailing or relating to the trade union contained in the statement comparing or accompanying the applications for register. Now, once the trade union is registered by the Register of Trade Union, certificate of registrations continues to hold good until it is cancelled. So, IFFCO, the 1992, so certificate of registrations, the registers on registering a trade union under section 8 shall a certificate of registrations in the prescribed form under this act. Cancellation of registrations, a certificate of registration of a trade union may be withdrawn or cancelled by the registered on the applications of the trade union, union to be verified in such manner as may be prescribed, or the registrar is satisfied that the certificate has been obtained by fraud or case take or take the trade union has ceased to exist or has willful and after notice from the registered uh, contravened any provisions of this act or allowed any rule to continue in force which is uh, inconsistent with any such provision or has resin or resonant any rule providing for any matter provisions for which is required by section 6. Now, where trade union or not field returned due to misunderstanding of accounting year, and such return was filed soon after receipt of show case notice from registered of trade unions. Cancellations was held to be improper. State electric companies officers guild versus Register of Trade Unions 1994. Now appealed any person aggrieved by any refusals of the register to register a trade unions or by withdrawal or cancellations of a certificate of register may within such period as may be prescribed appeal where the head office of trade union is suited with the limits of a presidency town to the high court or where the head office is situated in any other area to such court not inferior of the court of an additional or assistant judge or a principal civil court or original jurisdictions as the appropriate government may appoint in this behalf for area. So that's for the video, my friends. If you like my video, please subscribe, like, comment, share my video. Thanks a lot for watching.